Miller Lite or something. Michelob Ultra.
Welcome in, latest episode of that SEC podcast. I'm your host, Michael Bredden. I go by SEC Mike on the Twitter's machine. And there's everybody's favorite cousin Shane, who's off the wagon. What's up, buddy?
I'm reeling, man. I am reeling. I'm hanging on there. Like those Bama Dynasty shirts, just barely hanging on for dear life. Just need one more season. But, yeah, I did kind of fall off the wagon a little bit, Mike. I ain't gonna lie.
Well, it's only been 2 weeks, of course. I
had a good run, didn't I? I had a good run. 13th. My daughter turned 16th. And usually I was hoping it'd be like an ice cream cake situation because I'm not a fan of those.
Yeah.
But no, we went crumble cookies, and I crumbled at those cookies, Mike.
Well, I can always tell because Shane's doing well. He's giving us updates. He's fired up. He's pumped up about this, that, and the other. And then when you don't hear from him for 72 hours, I can only imagine the debauchery that's going on over here,
He's on a bender again, Gonna have to pull him out of a gutter somewhere, Cracker Barrel parking lot or something. But no. Yeah, I came off a little bit, but I really am. Man, I was doing so good.
13 days longer than expected.
I think it's 13 days longer than last year. Nobody can handle a skinny cousin Shane,
Yeah, that'd be too off-brand. You know what? It's like those comedians, like, Jonah Hill. Remember that guy from Superbad?
Uh-huh.
Like, he's great, right? But
yes.
when he gets too thin, just not feeling it, Shade. He's just not the same.
No, he got all serious and started doing these serious roles and mad that people didn't take his acting serious. It's like, no, or Al Roper, is it Roper? You remember him?
Yeah.
It's like, as soon as he lost weight, I didn't care what weather he was spitting out because I didn't trust him anymore, So
Cousin Trace, this is just an intervention.
Oh, yeah, a 60-minute roast to Cousin Shane. I love it. Speaking of roast, we're going to have that tomorrow. Hey, I did want to ask you, what was the one guy that lost all that weight but then got ripped? You know what I'm saying? Like Tuna. Remember he was
Tuna.
Yeah, you remember what's that movie called? Tuna, the fat guy. The only fat guy in the movie that they kept saying strong side, left side, or something like that. Quick side.
Oh, right.
Remember the Titans? Yes.
Cracker Barrel Anonymous for you, Shane.
Yeah, CBA, baby. You remember him. I don't remember his name, but he was real fat and stuff. And then he lost all that weight and started but he lost all his roles. So I'm afraid the show may implode if I lose weight. So this is for you, Mike. How you feeling, man?
Oh, I'm doing great. I'm sticking with everything I promised. So I'm still off the booze and everything. So I'm doing.
I haven't had a beer yet. But we were discussing healthy options. Yeah, there he is.
Here's this guy, Shane, that lost all this weight. Probably extended his life by 30 years.
But he sucks in movies now. So. Oh, that's a good scene down there when he said he had his mom on his back last night. You remember that one? That was a good scene. So, what a great movie. That was there was some good movies. He was in a lot of good movies, but after that he lost it. I mean, it's the truth.
Cousin Anthony wants to know if you're just wearing a suit. And Cousin Reese said Jared from Subway. That was not who we're talking about.
No. Yeah, see? Weight loss never goes good. Jeez. I never thought Jared from Subway be brought up in this show, but here we are.
All right, well, hey, you can tell it's the off season. Shane,
Yeah.
we're talking nonsense here, but the fat kid from Stand By Me, they're just referencing fat guys now.
Come on. That's a good show.
Heavyweights all time.
Oh, when it kept gaining, get off the scale.
But hey, New Year, same sponsor. Don't forget MyBookie. Head on over mybookie.ag, online sportsbook. Put in that promo code SEC. That's THATSEC over at MyBookie. We're at 50% instant deposit. There's still NFL.
Yeah.
There's still one college game. I don't know who the hell anybody is going to even watch that, but Just be on the lookout for that. But how about this, Shay? This is wild. We got a lot of news and notes and all across the SEC. So we're going to get into it. Yeah, they're already asking me about Quinn Ewers. We'll get into that. He just declared. But right now, there's this thing. It goes on every year. It's a coaches convention.
Yes.
And you'll start to see, I think, a lot of movement after, because that's what they kind of decide, where the coaches are at when it comes to rules and things like that.
Yes.
But also, I think more importantly, a lot of guys go up there and try to get jobs. Can I come work here? Can I come work there? You looking for somebody? So we'll see a lot of movement, I would gather, in the next week or so, NFL and college. But how about this, Shane? Two of the biggest things to come out of the coaches convention.
Yeah.
Now, the coaches, they cannot set rules. So just to be clear, they cannot make the rules themselves. But they make recommendations, and more often than not, the NCAA, they kind of go along with what the coaches want, right?
Yeah, yeah.
This is when, the red shirt, you can play 4 games, still red shirt. These are the guys that they were all in favor of. So now what they're wanting is 1 transfer portal window. Mm-hmm. We still currently have 2. And they want it to start January 2nd and end January 12th. With the whole goal is, this is a little bit naive, but they're hoping that players will stick it out through the end of the bowl, through the end of the season, and you can't really go anywhere till January 2nd anyway. So, thoughts on that, Shane? 1 portal window, so no spring portal. We'll still have it this year because this is not going to go in effect immediately or anything. But do you like 1 portal, and where would you want it?
I do like 1 portal, and I think we should always have 1 portal, 1 signing class too. If we're speaking about that, but
right.
When though, I get why they're kind of pitching this deal because you got to, like you brought up, you got to keep school in mind here. You can't just do it whenever. Ideally, I would love it to open up after all football games have been played, including the national championship. So it's one thing we don't need to worry about. But as soon as that happens, then open up that 10 days. And that's kind of where I'm at with it. But I
think in a perfect world, that's how they do it.
Yeah.
But we got to remember this is college.
Yeah.
And we can mock it all we want, but they are tied to the academic calendar, right? So school starts in January. So you can't, some people are already saying, well, January 2 to January 12, that's not enough time for admissions and all. I mean, come on, they'll make it work. But I don't think you can really do January. Again, it'd be great, but I don't think you could do January 21st to the 30th or whatever. You know what I mean? Because all the semesters across college football have already started. So I think that would be the best one. But again, I don't think we're going to get that.
Yeah, but I mean, this is a multi-billion-dollar industry, so I would imagine they could figure this out, this loophole that we need. So, but I'm okay. I want to be crystal clear here. If this is what they have proposed and this is what we get, it's a lot better than what we currently have. So I'm good with the 2nd through the 12th, if you will.
Right, and one big reason they want it, Shane, the spring portal, all that really is these days, is mostly you're pushing guys out the door. We don't. Yeah. You're not going to play here. Why don't you go find somewhere else? And most of those guys don't find places. Mm-hmm. Or what really pisses these coaches off, Shane, is you get a guy, you sign him, and then all of a sudden they say, "Whoa, Team A, Team B's offering me $200,000 extra.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go over there." And so they're really trying to eliminate that, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Clean it up. This is all we want. We want rules and regulations, and right. That's why you've got this wild, wild west feel, is because this whole postseason was more about transfers than it was postseason. It's almost like that. I'm not saying completely overshadowed everything, but it was a big talking point for a lot of these football teams. Not the bowl games that they're going to, not the accolades maybe some of these kids, received during the season. It's all about who am I getting next or where am I going. So all that kind of gets pushed to the back, and I think now we get a better appreciation for the season that we just completed, if you will.
Yeah. The only problem is, and I think this is going to be the reality as much as I hate it, I still think we'll have guys that are like December 1 be like, I'm going to the portal, even though the portal doesn't open until January. I think we'll still see it, but I don't really know a workaround to that. I really don't.
That's where contracts come in, buddy. You know, and if you say it, there's like mute words on Twitter. You know, you just can mute some words, like some words you just can't say. So if you want to go somewhere else, that's fine. But if you say it before this date, it's null and void or something.
And then one more that has come out, and again, they've not officially recommended this. And again, the coaches can't make the rules, but usually when they're all in favor of it, it usually passes. They are discussing if you go down with an injury, fake injuries, you have to sit out for the rest of the drive, essentially. And that's kind of what they're hoping will. Now, there is a workaround. If you call timeout, that player can come back in, if that makes sense. So what's your thoughts on that? Do you think that stops the fake injuries? And I've already heard some discussing, well, they love this until the quarterback gets hurt and he's got to sit out a drive. But again, call timeout. And also, literally never have you seen a quarterback fake an injury on a tempo situation. So I don't know. I think if they're going to claim they're all about player safety, and we know, some rules are, but some clearly aren't, like playing 16, 17 football games. If we're really about player safety and you're legitimately injured, you probably shouldn't be running right back out there, in the same drive. You know what?
Yeah, I mean, surprise them with a quick punt, I mean, there's a lot of cool things you could do. No, I don't think that's the answer, but you're always going to find these nitpicks. There's not a perfect rule out there, Mike, but this is something that we've talked about for a couple of years now, and it's come up for ways to stop the fake injuries, and nothing is more upsetting than, a TV timeout or an injury that kills a momentum of a drive, and then the dude's back there 2 plays later, So I get it, but yeah, I like this. I definitely like this. But also, do you abuse it? Do you get a kid out there, that maybe he's just your injury kid? You know what I'm saying? I like Kirk off of what is it? That cartoon that you used to watch? Kenny, how he got killed, he's like the injury guy. Get Kenny in there to fake another injury.
You're saying almost like basketball where they send in the one guy that is always intentionally fouling?
Yeah. No, I'm not saying that happens, but, there'll always be the rule, and then there'll be people trying to find a workaround on that rule. So I am curious, though, what about, like, if a quarter ends, I would imagine that would be similar to a timeout.
Right.
That would be the only thing that I could see would be the controversy, if you will.
Yeah. So now we're just faking with 10 seconds left in the quarter.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
Hey, shout out to cousin Paul. He said, "Happy birthday, Mom! 87 and listening to Shane and Mike by her bedside. You guys make my day. Happy birthday, Mrs. Paul.
Happy birthday, Mrs. Paul. Absolutely. 87. Good grief. I'd like to be 87. I got to quit eating these damn crumble cookies or I ain't going to get there.
Just don't eat 87 crumble cookies.
Yeah, that's it. Eat my age.
Hey, shout out cousin JR too.
Oh,
he just gifted a membership.
Thank you, cuz.
As always, this time Andrew Kessel. Andrew,
welcome to the family.
All right, Shane. So again, let's move on. We've got a lot of going on here.
Yeah.
But and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Andrew's a Mizzou man, so he's gonna like this. There's a lot of Mizzou people in here, Shane. How about it? Them Tigers, Shane.
Did they get something? Did they get anybody?
Dominating the transfer portal. They already had the number one class according to most of the metrics. Now they've added Damon Wilson, the transfer from Georgia.
Yeah.
Shane, he was top 5 prospect in the portal. He picked Mizzou over Ohio State. Thank the Lord, somebody from the SEC can beat Ohio State. Now they beat him last year in the Cotton Bowl. He played 12 games last year for Georgia. He was slated to start this upcoming season. 3 sacks, 22 tackles. He was an elite prospect. This was a big get, and this was one where as soon as he jumped to the portal, it was, he's headed to Ohio State. They're paying him all this money. So, hey, this lets you know Mizzou, they could pay too, and
yes,
they're outdoing Ohio State, which allegedly is trying to buy themselves a national championship. So this is a hell of a pickup. I'm starting to warm up to Mizzou, Shane. And aside from him, the running back they added, Ahmad Hardy from Louisiana Monroe, and linebacker Josiah Trotter from West Virginia. Both of them this week, Shane, were named freshman All-Americans.
Ooh.
So Mizzou's getting some elite talent on the roster this offseason. And, man, I may have to reevaluate where I got them Tigers in the power rankings. You know what?
It changes the scenery real quick, don't it? When you got a little money, it's so funny because when you think of money, I don't know about you, Mike, but when I think of money universities, I think of Texas, I think of A&M, I think of Georgia and Alabama, but you'd be amazed who has money around here. And, some people get sick and tired of being the doormat to the SEC, and Mizzou hasn't been that in a while. In fact, they've been knocking at the door at 10, 11 wins here the last couple of seasons, and you change the standard, man. You start building the stadium up, and next thing you know, you're spending more and more money because you're generating more and more money. So I love this, man. I love when it's not the blue chip programs that you're used to, the same old talking universities. Mizzou's coming up. I like it.
Yeah. Cousin Zio, Shane, he says Shane faked an injury and refused to throw me a Lambert's roll.
It's true. I had shoulder problems that day. I just got the truck back from the deer accident. I don't know if a little side note. I don't know if you remember, but not only did I destroy some of those damn rolls, but I don't even think the deer got destroyed. He just destroyed the side of my damn truck, but finally got that thing back. So, yeah, I've been thinking about them Lambert rolls here this week because of it. I finally got my baby back, and I'm like, oh, man, I miss going up there. So,
Cousin Shane, not you, but another one. He wants to know, is Mizzou officially a blue blood? Again, 21 wins in the past 2 seasons. That's right up there with anybody in the conference.
What do you need to see? What do you need to see to that's a great question, and I want to word it a little bit different. How many 10-plus win seasons do you need, or kind of on that cusp to be considered an elite program in a conference now?
3.
3? Yeah. I think you do it third year in a row. I think we've got to reevaluate the power levels here in this country.
And also, I think making the playoff now that it's 12. We've only had 1 year of it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. They would have made it 2 years ago if we had the 12 team. So I'm technically kind of counting that as a playoff run. But I think we'll have to start seeing that too. But again, the schedule, oh God, it sets up so well. Again, I'm trying not to get overhyped like I did last year, but it sets up so well for a run to the playoff. I mean, they're going to be favored in. Just as I'm sitting here thinking about this, the only ones for sure that I think they would not be favored in is Alabama, and that's at home. And who knows? Alabama could fall off a damn cliff. Wouldn't stun me. And they got 2 weeks to prepare for that game. We'll see how good A&M is, but they get 2 weeks to prepare. And again, it's at home. So, buddy. They should be in if they're not in the mix, it's something bad happened.
Yeah, I think they'll definitely be in the mix, and I'm kind of with you there. I think maybe not this year's a little bit different because it's like 24 where the true 12 teams aren't going to get into the playoffs, but moving forward when they have 12 at large type situation, I think to be considered a blue blood, you got to be in that mix at least every third year, and maybe every 2 years you're kind of one of those bubble teams, if you will. Like you could get in, you may be left like right on the fringe. I feel like you just got to hover around it at least 2 out of every 3 seasons. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I don't think you could hit it 1 year and then just be out of the mix, not even top 25 the next 2 years, and then all of a sudden I don't think that's when I think of teams like LSU and Alabama and Georgia, these teams Texas, these teams are going to be on the fringe just about every season, or we're going to talk about them in the offseason as if they have that opportunity. I think if you're a blue blood, we're just considering you in that mix. And Mizzou, if they come away with another 10-11 win season, I think you got to start asking that question.
Yeah, Cousin Andrew, he puts it well. Shane, super high on Mizzou's portal additions. They're massive floor raisers. The ceiling just depends on the quarterback, Bo Pribula from Penn State. So still got to go back and watch. I think that's what I'm going to do this weekend, Shane. Watch him and try to watch all of John Mateer and see what those guys are doing. I may do video breakdowns of that or something, but I don't know. We'll see. Dakota, appreciate you. Basketball, refs, education fun. Appreciate it. There must be some shenanigans going on in SEC officiating again. You know what?
Yeah, every sport, especially if you're on the opposite end of it.
Well, Dave, I don't know if you're aware of this, Shay. Today is the NFL draft deadline.
Mm-hmm.
Here is all the players out of the SEC that have officially declared for the draft here. And I tried to do it team by team. Kind of ran out of time, kind of ran out of space. But here it is, Shane. And I was just wondering, because obviously Quinn Ewers, let's dive into that here in just a second. But he officially declared for the draft today.
Mm-hmm. Here's
a breakdown, position, or excuse me, team by team of the players that have declared early for the upcoming NFL draft. Based on this, biggest losers, you think, out of teams that lost guys to the NFL. And one note here, Shane. I thought this was a foregone conclusion, but I could not find anything about it. Maybe you could correct me if I'm wrong, but James Pierce, Tennessee. I thought he had declared.
Yeah.
I've not been able to find anything about him declaring.
Oh, no. I haven't either. I just assumed. You know
right.
what I'm saying? I mean, I've been told he's the first pick, just about every football game I've watched this year of Tennessee. So, no. And I guess the biggest surprise for me, other than that, now that you mention it, is Trevor Etienne. I was under the impression he was coming back. I thought
right. So I guess apparently he had a change of heart.
Well, they didn't have the money now that they gave it to him receivers. See what happens, Mike? You gotta get all the funds. But no, I think that's one of the bigger ones. Obviously South Carolina. I think it really would have been nice for those two to come back.
Yeah.
Could have had a really special season next year with South Carolina. But no, I think the other ones were kind of expected. I'm not seeing any surprises. Are you?
No, I think LSU will certainly be missing Will Campbell and Mason Taylor and Emory Jones. But again, it kind of goes exactly what Shane just said. When now those players are not there, now you got all this money to spend in the portal, and they're kicking ass in the portal. So we'll do a portal breakdown at some point. I'm kind of waiting for that to die down a little bit. But yeah, I mean these Georgia guys aside, like you just said, Trevor Etienne, that was. Most of these are expected. Dylan Fairchild, I kind of was thinking he might come back. Kelvin Banks, left tackle, Texas. He's probably going to be a top 5, top 10 pick, so no surprise there. But
any surprise that yours didn't hit the portal?
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. So let's not only that. What's his legacy now, Shane? You think at Texas now that he's gone? Because we all know who's behind him.
Yeah.
Shane's been asking about freaking Arch Manning for 2 media days in a row. Are we going to see him? And I don't think it's a vast majority of people that are Texas fans. I don't think the vast majority are clamoring for Arch to take over. But there probably is some. There are fans.
Yeah.
That are wondering, could we have won with Arch?
Yeah.
Is our ceiling higher with Arch? Did Quinn live up to the high? I mean, the guy took you to the Final Four 2 years in a row. That's.
Yeah.
I don't think there's another quarterback in the country that did that in the last 2 years. You know what I mean? So
is there anybody, and maybe the listeners are paying attention, that a quarterback situation like maybe not, I don't know, maybe Alabama a few years ago with Tua, we were so excited to get Tua out there,
Yeah.
And then you look at just maybe body of proof in the NFL, and you could argue that maybe, Hurts has done a little bit more than Tua, obviously getting hurt all the time. So is there any other situation or quarterback maybe controversy that you've seen before in the college realm, and you're like, we were just dying for number 2 to get in there, and we didn't realize what we had with number 1 until he was gone?
Well, I was going to say a perfect one till you ended it like that, because it didn't quite turn out that way. But I think of Nico and Joe Milton and wanting his, like, come on, we'll just put Nico in there. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
not that Joe Milton was awful, but he didn't have a great legacy. Yeah, I mean, another one that it's funny you say that, Shay, because it's Texas.
Yeah.
But I was never a big fan of. There's so many Sims. Was it Chris Sims?
Yeah, I was thinking him.
He unseated, who was it, Major Applewhite?
Yeah.
Who was really good. But he wasn't the 5-star. He wasn't the number 1 overall pick. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
that is one that kind of reminds me of that. Another one that kind of might fit that bill, but I think Georgia fans came around was always Stetson Bennett.
Yeah.
They were always ready for the next guy. They never thought Stetson could do it. And then he did it. Then he became a savior, which hey, he should, man. Winning, national championships. But
well, I kind of thought about that with what's his name when he went to Ohio State. I always thought, they had the guy. It was Eason, and then it went to what's his name?
Jacob Eason, and then Jake Fromm.
Jake Fromm, and then I don't know. I just felt like Georgia kind of missed on that one. Like they had 3 options and they kept the wrong one, or went with the wrong one. So
and then they had Justin Fields. So they had a lot of them.
Well, then there's a good side too. I mean, you look like Chris Leak and Tim Tebow. That was another one. Everybody wanted Chris Leak out of here because of Tim Tebow, and then Tim Tebow comes in and is like, "See, this is exactly what we were talking about."
I think the worst one, and I don't think. Well, I think the fans had kind of turned on him. But not that there was anyone behind him. Now he's kicking ass in the NFL, Shane, is Bo Nix at Auburn.
Yeah.
Where I blame that on Harsin, but it seemed like fans were none too happy with Bo Nix.
What, they want TJ? They want put TJ in there? What university is he at now?
Because they're fed, appreciate you. He said Ohio State, Michigan, Notre Dame, Texas, Oklahoma, Nebraska, Bama, and Southern Cal are the only 8 blue bloods. Nobody can join or leave.
Wait, let me look at this list again. Ohio State, Michigan. I mean, Michigan sucked.
What year did we make this list? 1980?
Michigan. I mean,
half of these teams don't do shit most of the time.
I don't know about Notre Dame.
Nebraska.
I mean, they're in the Natty, but I can't put them in there.
Southern Cal. I mean, without Pete Carroll, they've been nothing for 50 years.
Nebraska's gone. Nebraska was a fun story. SMU should be in there then. USC. I mean, I get it. I get where he's coming from.
Yeah.
I mean, growing up
for 100 years, maybe.
Sven, we must be the same age. Is what I'm guessing, because that's what I grew up to. But times are a changing, my friend.
Oh, here's a great one from Cousin Reed. He says Spencer Rattler and Caleb Williams.
Oh yeah,
that was a great
one. Yeah. Well, shit. I mean, I made the argument that Jackson should have been the guy. After what's his name? Went to Oregon. So I don't know. I just think we do this. We always think the grass is greener type situation, and we've got to see some really good things from Arch Manning. But brace yourself. What if he's not as good, or what if he doesn't stay as healthy, or well, shit, Quinn was hurt all the time too. So
right.
I don't know. There's just a lot of things that could go wrong. But they're doing exactly what Tennessee fans did last year, like you mentioned with Joe Milton and Nico.
Right. And here's something that may cause an issue. All the hype. I mean, unless Arch Manning wins at least one national championship and one Heisman, he's going to fail to live up to hype.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, that's an incredible standard. And with that name comes a lot. I mean, you remember this, Shane, when Eli was coming out of the draft?
Yeah.
And they were like, if his name's Eli Smith, he wouldn't even be a first rounder. And not like he was the greatest quarterback ever, but he won multiple Super Bowls, and now he's likely going to be in the Hall of Fame. So I don't think it's all his name, but there's certainly hype that comes with it. But how about this, Shane? Again, I reference it. So their left tackle, Kelvin Banks, turned pro.
Mm-hmm.
Right tackle, Cam Williams, go pro.
Yeah.
Center, Jake Majors, going pro. Left guard, Hayden Connor, going pro. So 4 of the 5 on the offensive line. Receivers, Matthew Golden and Isaiah Bond, pro. Tight end, Gunnar Helm, and running back, Jadon Blue. So with all that talent, just on the offensive side of the football, off of this Texas roster, I'm not saying that Texas got like a awful roster. I mean, hell, they just signed the number 1 class. They get damn near everybody they want out of the portal. But any concern that we're retooling the roster with a new quarterback, that could cause a little bit of a slow start, or maybe, hell, look at the schedule. They open at Ohio State.
Yeah.
That's not a game. It'd be one thing if they were opening San Jose and then got Ohio State.
Yeah. You
lose to Ohio State, and then somehow you lose at Florida.
Yeah.
There's your margin of errors is gone.
And it's not so much about Arch Manning, man. It's the chemistry of that offense. And I think you're correct. When you're looking at Texas' schedule compared to 24, the key games, the key moments where inexperience may bite you in the ass is some of these hostile environments you're going to be going to. You're looking at Ohio State. You're looking at the Swamp, which is revamped, down in Athens, which is now one of the toughest places to play.
Yeah.
Shit, Mississippi State. I mean, you ain't seen cowbells in a while, but that's what they like doing, and who knows what kind of situation they got going. Who knows? I'm not going to say they're going to be garbage, but if they're on a little bit of a tear, then fans, they get fired up real quick. So yeah, I feel like that's the problem is between the first 5 weeks you're going to Ohio State and the Swamp. That's where you're going to have some mistakes, mainly on that offensive line, whether it's, blown assignments or false starts or, that's kind of what you see a little bit when you go to places like that with a young line.
Yeah. And then there is one potentially massive thing hanging over the entire program, Shane.
Is he coming back?
Here's from Pat McAfee show. Here's I always get this guy, Adam Schefter. I always get him confused with Rappaport, but this is Schefter.
Steve Sarkisian is a name that has swirled around out there in NFL circles for weeks now. His season's over. If there were a team that wanted to talk to him, they obviously could go do that. And we'll see whether or not he has interest in going back to the NFL. But that's a name that's been out there for a little while, that there would be NFL teams that would have some interest. So we'll see if that actually now happens.
Okay, when's the...
So just the way he answered that seems to suggest that that there's something to that, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, if Adam's talking about it, then people are talking about it. So, and he's a fun pick. He's exciting. People want exciting. I'm looking down there. I don't know if an NFL job comes open and one of these SEC coaches get it. I can't think of maybe one at the most would say no. I would think I'm looking at Kirby Smart right now. I think Kirby would be the only one that would turn that job away. Maybe Coach Kelly. I don't know. Coach Kelly's got a good
honestly,
deal.
Shane, I think they'd all take it.
You think so? You think Kirby Smart would leave Georgia right now for the NFL?
What's he got to prove? He's accomplished. He's on the mountaintop. But there's one thing that he could do that Nick Saban never could. Be success in the NFL. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's not because these guys hate college or certainly Kirby's, he's a Georgia guy. I mean, I'm not saying that that he for sure would, but I think he would because of the state of the game and the portal and the NL and all this stuff that these coaches have to deal with. You don't have to deal with any of that in the NFL.
Well, I've heard it many a times. In fact, we had on who do we have on that was talking about that? Like Kirby's not going to coach forever.
Right.
Kirby's one of those guys. He's not a Nick Saban. He wants to do the best he can, make hay while the sun shines. But I feel like there's a time in his life that he wants to allocate toward family. Right. And, you're able to do a little bit of that when you're at that NFL. So, yeah, shit, Mike, maybe you're right.
And here's the deal. You could go to the NFL and be awful. Mm-hmm. Steve Spurrier, maybe the worst NFL coach of all time. No one, that didn't tarnish his legacy. and he was able to come back to college immediately and do well.
Yeah.
If it's Kirby, Sark, Kiffin, Heupel, whoever you want to insert, if they go to the NFL and they suck and they're done, they will get a big time college job immediately if they were interested.
Yeah, I think if Kirby did come back, let's just play that for a second. If Kirby came back, is there any job he couldn't get? Maybe Texas?
No, I think anyone would hire him.
Not over Sark. If Sark's still there.
Have you seen Sark's play call on the goal line? I'm saying any open job.
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just playing at your alma mater. I think it's like a Disney movie, you know. And
right.
I think the fact that he's won national titles. He doesn't have anything to prove. I don't know if he's ever. I don't think you could beat Nick Saban as far as championships moving forward. Not in this landscape. So just remove that from your memory. But what you can do is go to the NFL. Shit, Mike, you have convinced me. Kirby should be on the short list somewhere. Get him out of here. Get him out of Athens.
Hopefully, what else I can convince you of, Shane, is to go over to cornbreadhemp.com. That's what I'm on. That's why I'm so smart these days. cornbreadhemp.com/SEC, or just put the promo code SEC at checkout for 30% off your entire order over at Cornbread Hemp. What is this cornbread, Shane? America's only USDA organic THC gummy. Mm-hmm. 1-to-1 ratio of THC to CBD, 100% legal. This is fast and free shipping. And they also have incredible CBD sleep gummies. So they're not to party with or anything like that, but they help me stay asleep. That's why I'm so alert. That's why I'm able to make these brilliant points on this show, Shane. This again, Cousins getting 30% off. You go to cornbreadhemp.com and use that promo code SEC at checkout. Cannot recommend this product enough. It's a great business out of the state of Kentucky, small independent company just like us. So we can't recommend Cornbread Hemp more.
Just be careful with them New Year's resolutions. You got a little cornbread, it goes well with crumble.
Well, that's true. That may not be great for the diet, but that's neither here nor there. All right, how about Jane? How about this one? According to our buddy Matt Hayes, I don't know if he saw this, but Carson Beck, when he decided to come back. Now this has been disputed, but I trust Matt. Matt's he's been doing this for 40 years, seems like. Yeah. Very plugged in. According to him, Georgia.
He's 87 years old too, ain't he?
He's not that old. Georgia wanted Carson Beck back, which that doesn't surprise me, but it seemingly has, because Georgia has a lot of the fans have already turned on Beck.
Yeah.
He's a damn bad dog, all this. They don't believe it. So thoughts on that? And then I thought even more interesting, because again, if he decided to come back to college, Georgia, you'd have to think that'd be the first, they would want him. I don't think they wanted him out the door. But more importantly, Matt is reporting, so obviously he's already at Miami. He's going to Miami. But there's one other SEC team, Shane. I want to see if you can guess it. One other SEC team tried to get Carson Beck.
SEC?
Yes, sir. That's not Georgia.
Kentucky? I mean, they worked the last time.
They ain't playing at this level. Come on, Shane. Alabama.
Huh.
So what does that tell you about Kalen DeBoer, if anything? Kalen DeBoer and his quarterback situation, Ty Simpson. They got the Austin Mack, the transfer from Washington. They just signed an elite 5-star. But I think old Kalen, I think he knows his ass is sitting on not a super hot seat, but a seat that's getting pretty hot. He needs to make sure he nails his quarterback.
And before we get going, I was joking about Matt. He's in a lot better shape than I am. He has more hair than I do, barely. But no, I think that it is a little alarming, but that's the state that, I mean, did you expect anything different? Forget DeBoer. Just forget the name altogether. You could put any coach in the country in that seat right after Nick Saban. They're expecting results year one. Yep. And if it's not up to standard, if you're not hitting playoffs, because 12-team playoffs, when that thing rolled out, there's not a Tide fan down there that thought to themselves that they weren't going to be in it every single time for the rest of their lives. And the fact that they were on the outside of that bubble I felt the pressure. Shit, you got people coming out here talking about what he's wearing on the sideline, and he knows exactly what's expected down there in Alabama. So I do not blame him at all. I'm kind of surprised that we just stopped with Beck. There was other good quarterbacks I felt like in this, unless they were holding out in anticipation to get him. Because these people talk. It's not like when Beck declared, everyone was blown away. Shit, he was already committed when he went into the portal. So these guys knew there was some interest there, and I'm sure Tide fans already knew, or Tide, the ones that matter. So I'm not surprised here, but I am surprised that was the only one they went after.
Yeah, I don't know. That tells me something, Shane, about their confidence in Ty Simpson. Now, Ty Simpson was an elite prospect. He's not displayed that yet in college, but he's not, in fairness to him, he's not really had the opportunity. Mm-hmm. So, I kind of thought Ty Simpson was kind of entrenched as the starter.
Yeah, but let me ask you this: we had three teams, three SEC teams in the playoffs. All three of them had a backup in at some point. And I'm not saying you're bringing Beck in for that backup. I think Beck clearly would have been the starter in this situation. But I feel like we've realized in this conference that you have to have two capable backs or quarterbacks. You know what I'm saying? Not maybe the stud, but you got to have one that you don't lose much if he's thrown into action. So I don't know if maybe that had something to do with it too. Not that.
Well, I agree with that sentiment, but.
You think you could have got better backup somewhere? Is that?
Well, no, just in this day and age.
Yeah.
If you add Carson Beck, Ty Simpson's gone. He's hitting the portal in the spring. He's not going to sit around anymore. I think if whoever doesn't get named starting quarterback at Alabama is going to hit the portal. You know what I mean? That's just that's the way it works now, where they just hit the portal if they're not starting, fair or not.
I miss the good old days, You just lock them in for 4 years, ruin their career, but at least you got a good, reliable backup.
Yeah. All right, hey, other news here, Shane. I don't know how you're going to feel about this one. I think you should be feeling good. Let's start. Oh, man, there's bad news, too. Good news or bad news? Which one you want first?
Shit. Give me the bad news first.
Tennessee outstanding corner Jermod McCoy tore his ACL. According to Austin Price, VolQuest. So he's not expected to miss any time in the regular season. Obviously, he'll be out for spring, but, thoughts and prayers. Hopefully he can make a quick recovery. But that's a blow for Tennessee.
Well, and I quickly Googled recovery time when I heard this, and it's like 6 to 9 months, and I would imagine it's on the closer to 6 side. So yes, we probably will see him in the fall. So if you were to, this is not good news, but if you were to tear an ACL, you definitely want it in January.
Yeah. And then the other news for Tennessee, again, you might think is more bad news. I don't. But Tim Banks coming back. Shane, defensive coordinator. There was some rumblings, Could he go to Clemson? Could he go to Penn State? But he's back. You were completely out on him with the Ohio State game. What's your thoughts with a Broyles finalist here, nation's top assistant coach here, and Tennessee's they get better every year under Tim Banks.
Yeah, and I think that's, now that the dust has settled, now that my emotions have come back down, I'm not one of those guys that thinks the next is better. And sometimes you could hire a coordinator and it just implodes on you. There's been plenty of coordinators come to Knoxville, Tennessee, and I felt like it set the program back a couple of years. One thing that you are getting with Banks is continuity. You're getting athletes getting better. I'm seeing progression. I'm also seeing good recruiting. So it may not always be on the field, but as an overall picture, I'm excited to have him back. So this is one less thing to worry about if you're a Vol fan this offseason.
Mm-hmm. All right, how about this, Shane? This is I tackled these with Steven, but I made a little graphic here, and I wanted to get your thoughts on it. FanDuel has put out odds to win the national championship, Shane, and next season. We got all the odds for every 16 SEC teams. And then I've even listed below the overall, and Georgia and Texas lead the way 6.5 to 1.
Mm-hmm.
That's second best odds in the country to win it all. Bama 14 to 1. Those are the fourth best odds to win it all. Tennessee 16 to 1. Those are the sixth best odds. Ole Miss 19 to 1. LSU 23 to 1. Texas A&M 32 to 1. South Carolina 38 to 1. Auburn and Florida tied at 50 to 1, which is technically the 14th best odds to win it all. Oklahoma 75 to 1. Mizzou 100 to 1. Arkansas 110 to 1. Kentucky 210 to 1. Vandy 460 to 1. And then Mississippi State 1,000 to 1. Anything jump out to you about these?
I want to put money on all of them because let's say I got $500, Mike. I'm putting 100 on Mizzou. That get me 10 grand. I'm splitting the other 200 between Ole Miss and LSU. I mean, obviously I love my Vols, but I'm not convinced right now that they. Here's the thing. I love the quarterback situation at Ole Miss and LSU better right now. And I feel like that's what gets you to a national title. Everything that LSU has done in the transfer portal, everything that Ole Miss has retained and brought in as well, I'm very high on it. And how can you not be a little excited about what Mizzou's doing?
Yeah.
Not to sound like a homer, but this is a football team that is very, very aggressive in the portal. Plus, they got a very, very favorable schedule next year, in my opinion.
Right. Yeah, that's right where I was going to go, Shane. I think the best value, again, I'm not guaranteeing it that this is going to happen, but I think the best value on the board is probably Missouri at 100 to 1 over all of these. That's the one if I was looking to throw a couple bucks on that I like, and it thanks in large part to the schedule. We've already highlighted it, but again, that is a schedule that'll get you to the college football playoff if things break right for you. I really like Vanderbilt 460 to 1, just in terms of odds.
Yeah.
I mean that's a little ridiculous to me. I think it should be much closer to like 160 to 1, something like that, and maybe even lower than that, maybe like 90 to 1 or something. But that's a good one. And then,
can you pull up Auburn's schedule?
Yeah,
that's a 50 to 1 is very, very nice numbers. It's just the path. You know what? Auburn's got to be in this mix too. I'm going to take 100 off of. I'm going to take 50 off Ole Miss and LSU, and I'm going to put 100 on Auburn as well.
Ooh, buddy.
Yeah, that's $500.
Hugh Freeze is still the coach, right?
Yeah, yeah. But I do like the schedule. I do like the talent that's returning. It's one of those that you've got to believe that Jackson was under. I don't know. It's like you're taking a chance. We've got to see Jackson up there in Oklahoma. Is it different in this system with, I think, arguably a better offensive line, better weapons to throw to, better offense, I think, as far as play calling. I just think that is just a better situation for him. So I'm putting more stock into what he could be than what he has been so far.
Could you put it this way, Shane, that Alabama and Auburn have similar chances to win it all, yet one is 14 to 1 and one's 50 to 1? Is that a fair statement that they have similar odds to win it all?
Alabama?
Yes, considering Alabama's got at Georgia, at South Carolina, at Mizzou, at Auburn, we're just talking about them, at Florida State, and hell, that doesn't even count LSU and Tennessee.
Yeah.
And Wisconsin.
Yeah. Alabama's got a tougher schedule for sure.
So again, I'm not saying Alabama for sure, or excuse me, I'm not saying Auburn for sure has a better odds to win it all.
Yeah.
But I say they may be close to. I just think they're much, much closer than 14 to 1 to 50 to 1. Maybe like I don't know. If Alabama is truly 14-1, I think Auburn's closer to like 25-1.
Yeah, I think you should adjust it. I would put Auburn at like 30-1 and Alabama at 20,
right.
25, somewhere around there. I think Alabama's just there because it's Alabama, but
reputation.
Yeah, but I do like their defense. I think they're going to have one of the best defenses in the country, and you've seen. I mean, think about it: Texas, Georgia, Tennessee. That's what got them to this national championship was a good defense. So. Maybe we're wrong on that end. Is there any? I mean, we just talked about bringing Alabama down. Is there any other team on this list that you think maybe a little too high? Do you want to save any of the Cousins' money from putting money on this team? I mean, you just talked about Texas reworking that entire offense.
Yeah, I mean,
are you putting is Gunner the guy in Georgia?
I think it's this team, Shane. Again, I'm not trying to lose our entire Oklahoma audience, but again, we're talking national championship.
Yeah.
And we're sitting here, we had Eddie Radosevich on the show. Go check it out. But I mean, they're saying 8 or 9 wins is like sky high if everything breaks right. And it's a lot of what ifs there. You know what I mean? So if 9 wins, hell, we just saw 9 wins. That's not even going to get to the playoff.
Yeah.
So how realistic is it that you go 10-2? I think it's very unrealistic.
God. Now, see, Mike, what you've done? They're going to poison my swirly when I'm out there because all this blasphemy that you've thrown out.
How about this one, Shade? Let's just take the whole second row here.
Yeah.
Ole Miss, 19-1. LSU, 23-1. A&M, 32-1. And South Carolina, 38-1. And they're all 8th, 9th, 10th, and 12th best odds. So they're really tight together, even though the numbers are not necessarily right there. They're essentially neck and neck here in terms of the odds. You had to put the mortgage on one.
That's not fair because I've told you how high I am on LSU, but I'm gonna bring it down to those bottom two that I haven't talked about. Which one between A&M and South Carolina am I more confident in? It's them Gamecocks, Mike. South Carolina, here's the deal. Other than the LSU game, other than potentially a split between Bama and Ole Miss, there's not a game on that schedule I think South Carolina cannot win. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like I even the LSU game, I'm not saying that they can't beat them, but it is on the road. And I'm looking at, like I said, a split between that Bama and Ole Miss. I don't know, man. It's either you're a believer, a Shane believer, or Sellers. What is that? Heisman.
Yep.
One of those is going to happen, or you're not. You thought last year was peak South Carolina football. No, I think this is a football squad that has also been very aggressive in the portal. I think they've shored up a few spots that they had, and this is a team that, with everything hitting, they could really start out Mike, they could be undefeated by the time they play an LSU game.
Yeah, and check this out, Shane. So again, Virginia Tech and Atlanta, the Beamer Bowl there. South Carolina State at home, Vandy at home, at Mizzou, and then Kentucky at home before a bye.
Mm-hmm.
Now look at LSU's path before that. It's a lot trickier. At Clemson.
Yeah.
Louisiana Tech at home, Florida at home, Southeast Louisiana. So again, there's a couple cupcakes there, but then at Ole Miss.
Yeah.
You tell me which team's going to be more physically beat up. It's going to be them Tigers.
Yeah.
Going into that critical game.
That's true, man. That is absolutely true. And I know it's way too far away, but that's why I like these odds, because sometimes after 2 games, these things could change real quick. LSU may move to 6.5-1. So if you're feeling row 2 or row 3, maybe even row 4, but you're thinking, hey, if the stars align, if this team is as good as I think that it can be, and they hit their ceiling, this is the time you put the money in, man.
And then again, Ole Miss. They're going to be a fascinating team to see how they bounce back with a lot of talent off the team.
probably the worst bye week situation in the SEC, isn't it? Like right after the LSU game, and then the last football game is like, oh yeah, before you play the worst team in the country, not the country, but in the SEC.
In the conference, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, golly, I would love to have one right maybe between that Georgia-Oklahoma game or even between Oklahoma-South Carolina. Nope, right there at the very end. So I'm sure Lane will tell us,
He's just got to stay out of them DMs,
Jeez. Oh, I love
Focus
it,
on the action. You know what? But speaking of that, Shane, I know one sponsor he would love, Coach Kiffin. Shout out Coach Kiffin. How about, has he tried Joy Mode? If you haven't already, Coach Kiffin approved here. This is a sexual performance booster, Shane. Go check it out. All natural supplement designed to enhance blood flow, give you firmer, more reliable. I was trying to get you to spill there, Shane, but promo code SEC get you 20% off a single purchase over at tryjoymode.com or 30% if you get hooked on it. You get that subscription service, Shane. So it comes every month.
Yeah.
I know Shane. That's why he's down in those waters. He's running out of fluids over there because they sent us over back. It's a Joy Mode. You're really going to like his stuff. It's good for cardiovascular health and things of that nature. So
yeah,
you're trying to get healthy. This is all part of the formula, Shane. Go try joymode.com, promo code SEC. Again, 20% off a single order or 30% off a subscription service over at Try Joy Mode. Oh, look at you.
Yeah, look, just got my Joy Mode ready here.
I didn't even know we could do that.
Oh, yeah, man. I saw cousin T-Bob messing around with this stuff. So I'm like, hey, I got to get on this. Look, I'm at the ocean now with my Joy and my cornbread.
Cousin Craig says, Cousin Shane, the face of Joy Mode.
Oh, shit. That's awesome.
How about these, Shane? So I wish we had them for all these, but we only have for 3. But we've had a couple over-under win totals released via FanDuel. So Georgia, again, we only got 3. I'd give them all out if I could. But over-under 9.5 wins for the Bulldogs. And the juice, so to speak, is on the better odds is on over. So you'd win a lot more money. The over is minus 205. The under is plus 158. So you'd win a lot more money if you go under. But what's your thoughts on Georgia 9.5 over/under win total? And again, this is just for regular season.
Yeah, maybe I'm just bought in to the program, and I'm going over. This is a team that odds are they're going to go over, and
right.
even if they're an underdog at one of these, I would still, in my gut, know that Kirby Smart has a chance to win this thing.
Yeah, and I mean, hell, they lose so rarely.
Yeah,
it's like it's an automatic film storming, unless you're Alabama, because Alabama's kind of beating them up a little bit. But they do catch Alabama. That'll be tricky. At Tennessee, that'll be. I mean, they own Tennessee, but that could be tricky. And at Auburn's not going to be easy. Ole Miss. I mean, there's a lot of landmines on this, but it's very, 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 very hard to see a Kirby Smart Georgia team losing 3 games in a regular season as long as he's there. You know what?
And it's crazy to me. We overlook just how tough this schedule is because it's Georgia.
Right.
Like you said, Tennessee, Bama, Texas, Ole Miss. There's a lot of squads that, even Auburn, Florida. There's a lot of teams that don't have more than 2 of these that I just mentioned, and Georgia's got them all. So it kind of surprised me. I felt like they would be more battle tested this year in the playoffs because their schedule was tough this year. But I feel like if they can get to 10 next year with that schedule, they may be the best team in the country. And
then we got Texas as well, 9.5, same over/under win total. Again, the odds to go over are minus 200, so 2-1 essentially, and then under is plus 154. So you get a lot more money if you go under.
Yeah,
but same deal. It's hard to see Texas losing 3 regular season games, even though I know the non-conference they get at Ohio State to open the season.
Yeah, I'm a little closer to 10 than I am 9. So
yeah,
I think you look at the Ohio State game. the Georgia game. Those are maybe the two that you're looking at. And then you got some swing games, A&M, Vandy, Florida. I just feel like, especially if Sark's there, that they got really good shot to go the over.
And losing to Ohio State, all that offseason motivation.
Yeah.
If you beat Ohio State in Columbus week 1, I think you can already cash that over. You know what?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure, man.
And then the only other one we have, Alabama, 8.5 over -186, under +144. So again, the better odds are to go over, but the number's smaller here. So
Yeah.
ooh, Caleb, will Caleb DeBoer survive if they go 8-4? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
That a step back, you know, they didn't like last year. And then if you're worse, they may implode up there or down there. I ain't touching this one though. If I had to pick one though, probably over, just again because it's Alabama.
Right.
But yeah, I think the Georgia LSU game, Tennessee, South Carolina, Auburn, Mizzou. There's some very losable games on this schedule, and damn, I'm going to go over. I'm going to go over right now, but I am not confident at all. It's like my diet, you know? Like, is he going to eat clean tomorrow? No. Would you take that bet, Mike?
I don't think I'd take that bet, but I'm rooting for you. You know what?
Thanks, brother.
I'm also rooting for Foul Big. I appreciate you, brother.
Hey, thank you, cuz.
He just gifted a membership to Jeffrey Roberts. Jeffrey, welcome
to the family.
But all right, buddy, we went a little over an hour here. Anything else before we hop off the line?
No. I mean, I think dinner's ready, so I gotta get off. No. I promise I'm going to get back on it soon, my friend. But no, stay alert, man. I mean, I took a day off of Twitter yesterday.
Yeah.
And I jumped on. I felt like I was 10 years behind. So I appreciate you catching me up with all the latest news, Mike. I know you've been battling a little illness yourself, maybe too much of that joy in you. You know, you got you worked up last night, you know. But I appreciate everything you've done to keep this band together, brother. And turn those notifications on, because if anything does happen, and this is that time, guys, I'm telling you, this is that time when shit happens. When you got Adam Schefter coming out here talking about potential SEC coaches going to the NFL, that means there's probably a chance an SEC coach goes to the NFL. So be sure that you have those notifications on, because if it were to happen, you'd be notified immediately.
Yeah, I'm like checking Twitter as we're doing the show to make sure I'm not missing anything of mass importance. You know, it was I've been seeing the article that we never had this guy on. Maybe we'll have to have him on. But if you go to Rocky Top Insider,
yeah,
they did a really cool article recently on the night Kiffin left Tennessee. It was, I guess, like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
This week or something like that. But it was, man, that's exactly what you're talking about. Nobody saw that coming either. And it happens instantly, and it's chaos afterward. You know what?
Absolutely. And I don't read often, Mike, but when I do, I'm going to let everybody know. I read an article Adam Sparks put out talking about the finances there in Knoxville, and it's kind of eye-opening when you start seeing. He said, I think there was an 88-page budget thing released, and so I didn't read 88 pages, but I did read the one article, Mike, and it was very interesting to see where the money's going, how much it's going up, because it's going up at a lot of these schools, but where it's being allocated to. Where, you know, next year with ticket prices going up, the franchise fee or whatever the fancy word they're calling it, but these schools are getting ready to compete. You know, you watch teams like Oregon and Ohio State, and you're like, damn, how'd they get so many 5 stars up there? Well, you're going to start seeing SEC doing that as well, because they're going to allocate that money for that. And just interesting read if you get on there.
Yeah, definitely. This is an evolving situation. That's why we're trying to keep you updated. It changes by the minute, changes every year, and there's more changes are coming. So stay locked in on the channel. Like, subscribe, share, all that jazz. But we appreciate each and every one of you for hanging out. We'll catch you All that excellent.
All right. See you guys. I'm trying to get in the here. See if that worked. Oh, yeah. See you guys. Go Vols.
Hey, buddy, this beer's for you, Mike, and Cousin Shane. That SEC podcast loves the Pirate, and the Pirate loves that SEC podcast. Hail State.
Did you hear that?